Hello loves and welcome in. Today we're going to be working on a build that will be multi-parts because I'm a slow builder. So shout out to the other slow builders out there that understand what I'm talking about when I say it takes a while for me to figure out floor plan and to figure out what swatches of what items I want and where the items are. You know, I don't build as often anymore to know where everything's at. So I've tried to cut out a lot of me scrolling so that it makes this a bit easier to watch. But to start out, I struggle with floor plans in general. Like, I feel like I really lean on the same floor plans for all of my builds, and I wanted to push out of that and do something a little bit different. And so for this, I did actually use a farmhouse floor plan website, and it added so many things that I wasn't prepared to see. I wanted it to be a larger build for sure. There was a large garage. However, you don't use garages in the game because we don't have functioning cars, although I still think that would be a really cool addition to the game to give us like a hobby car, like give us a rundown car that we can build up to something awesome and then either like keep it as a showpiece or sell it. I think that would just be a really fun way to get like a mechanic skill. I don't know, I just think it could be cool. However, I did want to pick a larger home. I typically do tiny homes, so I wanted to do something that was like kind of way different than what I'm used to, and that's definitely what this build is. This build is a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom. There is a laundry room, which I always forget and end up throwing into a tiny closet, so it was really nice to give the laundry room that full experience that it needs sometimes, especially if you have, you know, laundry day and you're making a functioning laundry room. It's nice to use the space and give a larger room to it instead of something tiny. Don't mind my fail there, as I tried to make a driveway and I was like, maybe I won't have to use the roof piece. And then I was like, oh Lord, no, this is not it. We need the roof piece. I fidget around with this build a lot. I don't know if anyone has ever used like a real life example to try to build from reference, but Sims is not to scale. And that's something that I don't think about often, because when you're building in The Sims, typically you're building for Sims things and you're not trying to like mimic something specifically, although I feel like most of us have like either made the current home that we're living in or a childhood home at some point. I thought that it would be fun to try out a floor plan. I know it's been suggested a few times by some of the toppings in Discord as a way to kind of branch out of your normal style of building, and it definitely was challenging, especially the roofing. I really struggled with the roofing for a minute. It was another instance where in real life, you can do a lot more complex roofing than you can do in The Sims. Like, The Sims does have limitations to what you can do because it's locked to a grid system. Like, yes, you can move things out smoothly with the Alt tool in terms of like the pitch of the roof and raising and lowering it, but in terms of like placement, it's still pretty locked in. Like, you have to use the grid, and I kept running into instances where I didn't want the dang grid. So you're gonna watch me fuss with this roof quite a bit, but I feel like it's not really out in left field for me to say that roofing is hard in The Sims. Especially if you're trying to roof something based on reality. So I do mess around with the roof quite a bit. I was considering cutting this part out, but decided to leave it just so that if you also struggle with roofing, you can see you're not alone. I ended up changing it a bit because, again, the scale is not as accurate with real life as it is in The Sims. So I do change the floor plan a bit from what it originally was. Like I said, the garage space, you'll see later that I utilize it a bit differently than a standard garage. Now, I do put some cars in there and I do make it look like a garage, but I take some of that square footage and repurpose it into actual usable space because it just felt, I don't know, like a waste to have a giant garage in square footage that the Sims are not ever technically going to use. It's just like random storage and debug items. You know, it just felt like a waste of square footage for a Sim that would be purchasing this home. So I do repurpose it a bit. I do change it out just a little bit. I also change out the floor plan for the master bedroom, bathroom, and closet situation because I wanted a huge closet. I never make closets, and I feel like they've recently given us some packs that make making closets a lot more fun, specifically Dream Home Decorator with the module system that allows us to make more realistic closet spaces. So I did have fun with that. Again, with designing this, I had pulled this from a floor plan site that was for like a farmhouse, and that's kind of the vibe that I continue throughout the exterior. But on the interior, I just fell in love with the Growing Together build buy. I don't know if I'm alone in that, but I'm kind of obsessed with the build buy from Growing Together. I love the styles. I feel like it's like a cozy modern without, I don't know, sometimes modern just feels a little cold to me, and I don't feel like this type of modern feels cold. Again, I'm not a pro. I'm not gonna act like I know the specifics of every style that exists and I can say, oh, this is contemporary modern. Like I'm not even gonna pretend that I know. All I know is I see things, I think, oh, pretty, and then I build. Here I also struggle because once again, the front door in the floor plan that I was working off of didn't align specifically with the front door situation in the game. Like I couldn't make it line up to the floor plan in the example that I was working off of. So I do shift things around, and I left this because don't get me wrong, I love watching everyone post their build videos with all of their amazing styles of decorating interiors, but it's the floor plan. The floor plan always gets me. I don't know what it is specifically about it that just mesmerizes me. Like, how do you make this space flow? What did you do to make it feel real, you know? And that's the goal of the game, in my opinion, is to make things feel real. Now, places I like where The Sims definitely is not realistic, but we can, you know, enjoy the fact that it's The Sims, is when you can do things like have a ton of windows with no curtains or blinds and not worry about people staring at you and looking in your windows. Really nice that you don't have to worry about that, because in reality, I'm basically like blinds shut often. Like maybe in the mornings we have like a patio door, like screen door that I'll open the curtains for. But for the most part, I just keep my blinds shut because I don't like people looking at me. I don't know if I'm alone in that. Now for the garage door, I could have been spicy and figured out how to tool some stuff to make it look more realistic, but I'm just gonna start building honestly, and honestly, I'm overwhelmed by tool. It's amazing what I've seen people do, don't get me wrong. I just don't, like, I could figure it out. Yes, I am capable of figuring it out, but I don't want to take the time to figure it out. That's what I struggle with. Like, I just don't want to sink, like, several hours of learning how to place an object in. Like, I've tried it before, and I've tried a couple YouTube videos, and it's a sharp learning curve. Now, don't get me wrong, this is not me like coming at our Lord and Savior Twisted Mexi. Twisted Mexi is an amazing mod creator, and I love everything that he's put out. It's just, for me, I find Tool very like daunting, and I just can't bring myself to pick it up. Something else that I don't use a lot of, and you'll notice that in the game, is debug. Debug is another bit that is kind of overwhelming to me. Like, sometimes I feel like, yes, I definitely am in the mood to dig around for X amount of time and try to find some unique pieces. But other times I'm just like, you know, I just kind of want to build with what's already there and not spend forever just like mindlessly scrolling through endless fields of debug. As a content creator at this point, I have every single pack and kit that has been released, as well as everything except for there are a couple items that I didn't get that were special promotions. There was like the concert event or something to that effect. I think I had something going on in like, you know, my 3D real life, and I wasn't able to do that. So I don't have whatever piece you got, and I can't even remember what it was. And there was something else that I didn't order early to get the like bonus items for. But beside that, I mean, I have just about every single thing else in the game. And it can be very, once again, daunting to have so many packs of so much debug. I mean, at this point, this game has been out for a very long time, and there's so much content, which is great. This is not me complaining about the content. It's just me saying that at this point in time, if you're gonna be scrolling through debug and you don't do it regularly, so you haven't like caught up with the times to know where every single thing is and what all is available in there, it's a lot. Like, it's very overwhelming. I even get overwhelmed sometimes when a new pack comes out. I think, oh, I'll do a debug review, but then I just think like there is so much in debug, and I just don't have the brain capacity to remember everything all the time. And I don't know if I'm the only one that struggles with that, because believe me, we have in the pizza box, which I do stream on Twitch. So if you didn't know that and you're only finding me here on YouTube and you do want to hang out on Twitch, I am on Twitch. We also have a great Discord where we like to hang out, and my community is so talented with building. And every time we do shell tours, which we've done 24 shell tours, we have our 25th live right now, which is a castle shell tour. Out of all of these shell tours, I'm always mind blown at the unique ways that people make things. The custom fireplaces I have seen have blown my mind. I have a topping that has been making custom little wall mounted books for kiddos for a very long time. And we've just recently actually got the Book Nook kit. And it has, I believe that was where it came from, or it might have come from the base game update, I'm not sure. But we did recently get a wall-mounted kiddo book rack. And it just like blew my mind, because I'm thinking all the years that they've been designing that, and now they can just click on it. That's gotta feel good. But yeah, it's just, I see so many interesting things, you know, and if you're ever on Instagram, you know, there are so many content creators that are just mind-blowingly creative with what they're able to come up with. And I don't build often enough to be on that level. And I feel like if I'm being transparent, it can be a little overwhelming for me, because I feel like I'm expected to be on that level as well before I can put out content or builds, and I'm just not. And so I've struggled over the years, and of course I'm working on it, and not constantly comparing what I am doing to what other people are doing, and allowing myself to be like, you know, no, I didn't search for 10 years through debug. I'm not a tool wizard. I did just basically use the items that we have in the game, but I still make cool things, and that's okay. Like, you don't have to use the most intense versions of your creativity that you can muster to be able to create a cool build. Like, you can create awesome builds without touching debug or tool or anything, and it would still be awesome. I mean, just look at, you know, here recently when they've had the game changers start making the pre-built homes in the expansion packs and the game packs that come with new worlds. They're great, and with those, they're only using base game and that pack. That way, anyone that has only base game and that pack can download everything. And they're also, I don't think they're even alt-placing things. I could be wrong, but I don't think that they're alt-placing anything. And the builds that they can come up with are just mind-blowing. I know there's specifically a build that I recently was looking at in Cottage Living, and I had moved a sim in there, and at some point, you know, now that they've updated it where sims have more autonomy that are in the background and they can move people in, they can adopt, they can get pets, they can have kids, you know, they do everything on their own now without us having to tell them to do these things. And at some point, a sim family had moved out of this Cottage Living house and they took all their furniture with them. And so I wanted to use it. It was part of my story for the Enchanted Cottage challenge. I'm not giving anything away, but there is a love interest. And when I made him, I was so excited to put him in this home because it would be nearby to where our cottage is. And there's just no furniture. And I'm like, well, that's awkward, because now anytime we try to go there, it's gonna be like he's living in a house with like no furniture. So I was like, okay, I'll just redo it real quick. But they had these really cool beams going on in the inside of this cottage, and it was just so awesome looking. Also at this point, yes, I am that person. I was struggling so hard because I wanted the dark swatch of the top of this curtain rod, but I wanted the lighter swatch of the curtain. So I do fuss with this quite a bit, and I was kind of proud with how it looked in the end. I do that second layer on top, not because it was needed. It actually is, I think, completely even hidden by the ceiling when you're looking at it. But when you're playing and you're looking top down, I hate when you can see items like glitching because you've alt placed them on top of other items and they like flicker. Oh, it drives me crazy. I don't know if I'm the only one that feels that way, but I feel very strongly that way. So anyhow, yes, I struggle with comparing myself to other builders because so many builders are just so good. And I think it's okay to remind yourself that what you create in your style of building is valid and it's great. And you don't have to be a wizard at this game to play it. You know, you can use the pre-built homes because they're awesome, and you can download something from the gallery if you are like, you know, I can't really build an awesome home for myself, but I would like to download something of the style that I'm looking for that someone else has made, and that's awesome. I've done that even for my Twitch content. If I needed like a quick house for something, I'll go to the gallery and I'll download it because there are so many epic builds that are out there these days, and it's all about, did you have fun? And that's something that I ask every time we have a shell challenge. I ask at the end, okay, but did you have fun making it? Like, because it could be the most epic looking shell that I've ever seen this person create, but if they hated it and they were just like upset the whole time and it wasn't fun for them, then that's not a knock out the park for me. Like, I want this to be a swing and a hit, not a swing and a miss. And I think that is really important. And that's why when I was making this, I just decided I don't really have a plan. And I know that's like the opposite of what you typically see for builders on YouTube, is they know where every item is immediately and they place it like the first time. And I'm sure a lot of it is back end editing as well, but I also don't have time to cut out every time I swatched a fridge and changed it out, or every time I found a cabinet that I liked and found out there were no upper cabinets. You know, whatever my struggle is, I just keep it in here because that's kind of raw. Like, that's how it is in the game. So I didn't pre-plan this home. I didn't have an idea for the style or the color palettes or anything really. I just kind of moved things around and let them develop as I figured it out. So I don't know. I did end up really liking this home. I don't know that I'll ever end up using it because typically in my gameplays, I start out as like a single sim and I don't have nuggets let me try that one again. I don't have nuggets often. Jeesh. And that's something that I am interested in trying in the future. I do want to try Legacy Challenge. I've been playing this game since The Sims 1 came out, and I would go over to my friend's house and play it over there, and I feel like at this point it's a little weird that I haven't played a Legacy Challenge at this point. But I mean, I don't know. Again, sometimes things just feel daunting to me, so I do what doesn't feel daunting and what feels fun at the time. And this trash can did not feel fun at the time, I'll tell you that. This trash can was gonna kill me. I felt like I moved it around so many times, and I just could not find where I wanted it to go. So yeah, I don't know. It's all about, are you having fun with a game, and don't compare yourself to others, because you could do that all day long, and there will always be someone better than the next person, but that's not what's gonna make you think, I had fun playing The Sims tonight. And so that's why I think it's okay if you build something and you hate it. I've done that so many times. Also, moment of silence for this random ass baby blanket that's on the floor in the living room. If you see this and you're like, why? I had a family here and I had saved. This was done over multiple days. I think I spent like 14 hours building this. And so I had saved it and I came back. And when I came back, the family spawned inside the house, put the dang baby on the floor, and then I moved them, and I could not get this baby blanket to go away. I know I'm on a tangent now, but I'm committed. This baby blanket was gonna be the death of me. I put a wall around it, like all four sides around this baby blanket, and I deleted it. Still there. I deleted the floor underneath it. Still there. I grabbed a new sim and had them put the baby somewhere else. Still there. It was so frustrating. What I ended up doing was getting that family moved out entirely, moving my sim self in here, got a random baby on the cast and put a baby in there, and then just, you know, obtained a random baby. It's no big deal. And then I had my sim put the baby outside on the floor and then lift the baby up, and then it got rid of the baby blanket on the floor. So if you run into that like I did, and it is the death of you, that is how you fix it. So yeah, there are a lot of nuances, I feel like, with this game where you have a vision for something and the Sims, you know, Sims. Like how we just now got the ability to do painted ceilings, which is incredible in my opinion. I'm so excited for us to have the painted ceilings. I have made so many builds. I just kind of want to like go back and re-upload at this point because there were so many cabins. I love rustic vibes, and there were so many cabins I have made where the white ceiling was like killing the vibe of the build. And I'm like, come on, I'm trying to live my life here, and you're giving me this plain white, not even textured, just like a plain white drywall ceiling, and I'm like, I hate it here. From what I've been told, the ceiling swatches that we're allowed to have are the floor swatches, which I thought was interesting. It makes sense. Part of me was like, small sad, although I will not complain. And yes, I was messing up with this so many times and couldn't figure it out because I had the curtains backwards. We're not going to talk about it. But I was a little sad because I've been seeing this trend of putting wallpaper on the ceiling, and it's really cool. Now, don't get me wrong, this will totally be the like next generation of like, why did you put a popcorn ceiling in this home? And there will be, you know, whatever replaces TikTok 20 years from now. They'll be on that app and they'll be like, these millennials and their wallpaper on their ceilings, we're gonna rip this out. It's gonna be the next thing. It's kind of like I've recently learned and been called out for millennial gray. And although I don't actually have gray anywhere here, my childhood home has been almost exclusively renovated in gray. And it's kind of a joke at this point that anytime my stepmom renovates anything, it's gonna be gray. Because the entire house, even the exterior, has been renovated in some shade of gray. And it looks great, don't get me wrong. I love the way that it looks, but I do agree that at some point it's going to be a thing where we are teased for the amount of gray that we have everywhere, and they're just calling it millennial gray. And I did recently see something else that was saying the next trend that is going to be dating your home is the, oh gosh, what do they call it? It was like a natural, what do they call it? Like a natural bohemian kind of vibe. And it's all like the neutral colors, the well, you know, not to call myself out, but the swatch that's on the walls here, just that neutral kind of tan beige color, natural wood tones. It's just like a very neutral, earthy, warm vibe, and that's starting to take off, and it's already starting to die off. So it's like a quick one, and it always makes me think, you know, I've lived in apartments the majority of my life, so I don't have the luxury of like really changing my space. Like, could I spend a ton of money on all these different, you know, floor stickers and removable wall stickers? Yes, I could. Am I going to? No, I move too often. I just don't have it in me. So I feel like I haven't been able to decorate the way that most people are able to decorate their homes and really like personalize it to themselves. But it's almost given me like anxiety at this point, because I wonder, like, what am I gonna do? Like, I'm gonna pick something that I really like, and you're gonna dump all of this money and time and effort into it, right? And then what happens? It's out of style. And it happens so often. Like, so often. And it just makes me think, how are you ever supposed to stay in style? I don't know. I truly don't know the answer to that. Yes, at some point I did decide to add a doggo bed. I thought, you know what? It's a family of 5. I feel like they need a dog. You know? Sometimes you need a dog. And I felt like this family definitely needed a dog. I'm gonna stop rambling at this point. I've been rambling for nearly a half hour. I'm gonna leave you with some very amazing Harris Heller here in the no copyright soundtrack, and we're just gonna vibe for the rest of the video. So let me know in the comments if you like what I've built so far. I am gonna split this up. Like I said, I think it took me roughly 14 hours to finish this build. Again, I know people could do this a lot faster than me. I'm a slow builder. That's okay. Build at your own pace. But we will continue to do these. I think this will probably end up being like a 3-parter, but I'm not a hundo on that. We'll just see how it condenses down. You're currently watching this sped up 400%, by the way. So it's, I'm not that fast. This is a 400% speed up here. Love this little plant too, by the way. I am kind of obsessed with it. I love the color of it, and I love the little spriggies on it. Okay, I'm gonna stop rambling. We're just gonna vibe for the rest of the video. Thank you for watching. If you're still watching at this point, I do appreciate you so much, and I hope you like this build.